Thanks everyone for joining today. My name is Carmen. I'm here today with Robert. And today we want to guide solo marketeers and small marketing teams into how they can turn AI into a content engine and not use it only to create content. So during today's webinars, we are going to see some of the bottlenecks and the challenges that these teams often experience around content marketing. And we are also going to see a specific example or a specific demo on how we can actually help with that or how you can actually get action on that. So at the end of the webinar, there will be also some time for Q&A. So you have the Q&A in there. You can ask any questions throughout the whole webinar. And then at the end, we will have some time to go through the questions and answer them. But let's gonna start first with a poll. Let's gonna just raise a question because, as I said, we are gonna go through some bottlenecks, but we also want to hear your bottlenecks as well, right? We want to hear how you experience AI.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, you will see now on the screen just one single question. So what is your biggest challenge when using AI to achieve your or your clients' marketing goals? So you just need to give a short answer. You don't need to go in depth through it, but we hope to be able to solve some of those bottlenecks. But we are also curious to know if there are any other challenges that we haven't even thought or known of, right? Because at the end, this is always a learning process.
Absolutely.
So let's give maybe 1 minute
Yes.
to give
Come
time
up
to
with good
answer.
ideas.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. By the way, all these answers are anonymous, so we cannot see who is answering them. So you are totally free to post your challenges in there, let's say. So let's see if I can find the answers. Let's wait, maybe, should we wait a little bit more time? Yeah. Okay.
And by ending the poll, we will see the results.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's end it. Perfect. Let's see what we have in here. So we have one of the answers that we have is leads database. So I think probably it's managing the leads. Would you interpret it also in that way?
Yes, I would indeed. Or building a lead database,
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
there's several ways of interpreting that, but absolutely a challenge. I think that you that is very common to have. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Consistency most often is also a challenge, which is also one of the bottlenecks that we will address. So it's good to see, at least some recognizable answers, I think, on this specific spot. Yeah.
And probably there are some others out there, right? But I think today we are going to cover the most common ones.
Yes.
And the ones that we typically see when talking to leads, prospects, clients. So let's go maybe through them. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. So let's get started, Robert.
Yes,
the work is yours.
Before we dive into, let's say, showcasing the impact of a consistent AI workflow, in this case through William, who is our own, let's say, AI content marketeer or AI marketeer in a case, we also want to work towards it, right? So what do we see happening? What type of impact is there in the current situation, in the current market? That we see happening, and it evolves in two ways. First, of course, the AI shift in content marketing itself. Marketeers and small marketing teams are maturing, right? They're maturing from, let's say, content factories into growth architects. And a more generalist marketeer is now very easily able to produce qualitative content also pretty fast. And at the same time, we're seeing the shift from how much back to how well, ensuring a strategic approach with impactful content that you can make that really sets you apart from the AI fluff that is also out there for a lot, right? Maintaining consistency. And the research that we identified supports that there's a widening gap, and it's a widening intelligence gap between LLMs that can now handle about 60% or more even of execution work previously done by copywriters, but also by designers. They still remain incapable of the high value strategic work that brands are now prioritizing, right? And the future of that human-led content strategy work lies, from our perspective, in 4 components. First and foremost, strategic positioning and maintaining narratives, right? Crafting unique perspectives that you won't get out of a bot that is there. Data interpretation, which is really key, right? Turning raw Google Search Console data or SEO and GEO data and metrics into actionable business intelligence. thought leadership, really important to set yourself apart and to really bring your message out there. And of course, maintaining a consistent brand voice and a tone in the DNA that you provide.
Yeah.
So that's crucial in that set. And then moving to the second part, we have the impact on roles and context, right? And also the costs that are accompanied by it. What we've seen over the past year is that the market value of content, right, and commodity content has plummeted by more than 43%. I think if you would look at it right now, especially since February, it might have even increased, right, that percentage. The impact of that is that if you've done that well, and if you have really shifted towards a qualitative approach, and you've embedded content and AI in your day-to-day operations, that you can be really efficient and see a really strong ROI on your content, right? But the role of the content marketeer has shifted because commodity content or content has become a commodity. So the role of a content marketeer, is not less impactful, but it has significantly changed. It needs to be done differently. And on the other side, you actually see new roles coming up, right? AI specialists with high hourly rates, and the same goes for SEO or GEO specialists that also come to market. So it has a big impact, right? Both on output as well as on the roles versus the costs, and the ROI that you can retrieve on that. If we move forward from that, over the past 2 years, StoryChief has onboarded hundreds of customers, right? From solo marketeers to freelancers to agencies, as well as to smaller and larger Marcom teams. And recently, we actually did a deep dive in the primary scaling bottlenecks that came back from the past 6 to 12 months of having conversations with customers and prospects, and actually identifying the reasons why they chose to start working from a single source of truth. And in this case, our single source of truth, right? The first takeaway, all those scaling bottlenecks are mentioned, or the ones that we will mention play a role across teams of all sizes. So no matter whether you're a jack of all trades, as we would respectfully say, or whether you are a full-sized Marcom team, most often we see that 6 out of those 7 have a strong overlap.
Correct.
Right? Before we do that, we will first shortly, of course, introduce StoryChief, and then we'll move forward from there. StoryChief is what you call a CMP, right? We help marketers, marketing teams, marketing agencies scale their content, scale collaboration, centralize, create a multi-channel delivery strategy from one single source of truth. Of course, it's AI powered. We have William. He's our guide. He's our brand guide. He's our content creation guide. He's our workflow manager. He's our channel delivery manager. You can give him any name you want, but he really helps you across the process, and actually makes sure that you are compliant, that you are consistent, that you're in control, or that he's in control in collaboration with you of your content process in that case. And the big impact is that you will see how you can really move from research to strategy to creation, creating assets, having a visual workspace without losing, in this case, context, tone, or quality.
Yeah, fully agree.
Let's hit them, right?
Yeah.
There are 7, at least we identified 7 scaling bottlenecks. And in this case, that solo marketeers or small marketing teams will keep hitting. And the first one already was mentioned, right? You probably will experience this every day. Life as a B2B marketeer is challenging. It ain't easy. You're expected to do 100 tasks at the same time, have 100 different hats on your head, and attribution is always a pain. And the only thing your client or your CEO wants is leads, right? You try to control everything from Google Ads to posting on LinkedIn, to events, to creating content and GEO. But what's actually the component that you can focus on or do really well, right? And also maybe do consistently. And that's always a challenge. And we hear this, I think, every day in conversations that we have. And centralizing your work, in this case, dedicated content, is at least one step in the right direction to help that. The second one is all about AI, right? It's often used for execution only. And this is how AI was used when it was introduced back in 2023. But if you haven't evolved on the use of AI and making it an integral part, let's say, of your workflows, your automation processes, but also your strategic approach to marketing operations, then fact is that competition for you or for your client is not only catching up, but it's actually already outperforming you as we speak. And I think it's been outperforming you already for 6 or 9 months in the past, because it's been moving really, really fast. The third one also relates to that, right? There's the component of GEO that was introduced. When ChatGPT was introduced, we were nowhere near understanding its impact on findability and the search landscape. How different is that today? The game of findability and being mentioned in Google, but also in Google AI summaries and within the first 3, 4, maybe 5 options of each of the different LLMs, right, is seen as crucial. And just tapping into your SEO strategy, your platform, doing some keyword research is not going to do the job for you, right? You need structure. You need a connection with other types of content, both internal as well as external pieces. You need recommendations, constant adaptation to change, and also connection to socials, which is crucial to have that findability on par.
Yeah.
Then number 4, and I'm going to make a combination also with 5 because I think they're pretty much tied in together, right? It's decentralized content operations, which is most often triggered by the fact that we use a whole landscape of fragmented tools and platforms to come to our solution. Content marketing is really, really so much more than just writing let's say, specific piece of context, a blog, an article, a white paper, or something else, right? It requires research, planning, alignment, brand alignment, and consistency. It needs impact. It needs collaboration with stakeholders in your internal organization. So it really needs a plan. And collaboration and approval flows are one of the most mentioned challenges that our customers face. In 90% of the cases, it's a struggle and it takes really long, sometimes up to weeks or months, not only for solo marketeers, but also for teams in large organizations, but even coming from agencies to get back that approval. And that is really a struggle to get a piece of content edited. And we actually see marketing teams lose up to more than 30% of their time to not being able to centrally, let's say, have control over that. We speak to companies who are using 2 project management tools at the same time, or have been using 6, maybe even 10 different tools to their process. And especially if you're a solo marketer or maybe a freelancer working together with 3, 5, or 6 customers, they will probably all use a different scattered tool set. So how complex is that going to be? And centralizing that back into one place and allowing yourself to work from a single source of truth for all your customers, that really allows you full control and unlimited scalability without the need to constantly add people. And it also brings consistency and compliancy to your process. So it's really a strong component. Number 6, this is always a fun one. Lack of structured prompts. You can read what it states. I'm always curious in conversations that I ask, how often do you actually start an activity with a different prompt? And how often do you relate back to something that you've already created? And in 80% of the cases, they constantly start all over again with a new question. And that's really a pity, because if you bring in that consistency and if you utilize the content or chats or prompts that you've used before, it will really bring you a faster piece and a faster content creation process, allowing you to connect the dots in the intelligence that you've already built in the platform. And the last one actually is maintaining brand voice, brand context. Consistency is key, right? Across the board. Content marketing is a vital element of brand marketing, brand building, and maintaining a brand goes hand in hand with recognizability, impact, and awareness. And creating that and distributing that across 3 or 4 different channels in collaboration with maybe 1, 2, 3, or in bigger cases, larger marketing communication teams requires really a solid alignment on making sure that you are on track for everything that your brand needs to be consistent. And that is a challenge that we see happening, especially if you relate that back to number 4 and 5.
Yeah, fully agree. I think this is inspiring for everyone. I think most of us can recognize some or all of these bottlenecks. And well, the good part is that there is a solution to it, right? So today I want to show you a case study. So since we launched William 3 years ago, but most recently we launched a new layer on top of William. We gave him more capabilities to not only create content, but also to really work on your workflows and really do analysis of your existing content and find new ideas and do keyword research. So since that launch, we see that most of our users, 1,000 of them, are able to really create double the content without sacrificing the quality, without having to spend more time or even increasing the headcount. Because that's not what we are looking for, right? We are looking to be more efficient, to get better results without having to invest more money on people or other tools or resources. So how can you achieve something like this? So by enabling an operations layer with StoryShift, but also William on top of it, you can actually get to this centralized point where you embed AI on your day-to-day operations and strategy, rather than just to prompt from time to time to create one blog article, for example. So what are some of the key results that we see among our users? We see that they improve efficiency. We said that before. They are able to produce more content, and they streamline all their processes. So from research to ideation, to drafting the actual content, to design, publication, of course. So the whole flow from start to end happens on the same workflow, on the same environment, while keeping the brand voice structure, your brand DNA. So this leads to a 30% more conversion rate, which is at the end what management teams and CEOs and clients are looking for.
Absolutely.
And all of this without having to spend more time or adding more personnel or more headcount to it. So I think it is actually a really good solution. And I want to actually show you what it looks like in practical, right? So we've given you some theory, we've presented some of the challenges, but actually we have the solution, and I want to show it to you.
And also focus really on why do it in a single source of truth.
Yeah.
Why do it in one environment rather than having it scattered across even 3 or 5 or 6 or more platforms.
Yeah, I can only imagine as a solo marketer, you are creating a blog article just now, and within 10 minutes you need to jump into a newsletter or a webinar or a video recording, and so you cannot go back to 1,000 tools and try to find the draft that you left a few minutes ago. You really need to find a one way to go back to that content and keep on working on that without having to spend all this time. So this is what I want to show you today in this short demo. This is already the end of the webinar, but that's also the fun part, I would say. So let's see, this is one of my demo environments. So this is where William, our operations manager, does the magic, right? So here, just at the middle, you have the place where you can ask him anything around your content strategy. So you can ask him to create a promotional plan, a content campaign, do some keyword research, some analysis on geo, SEO, find what your competitors are doing. So actually the possibilities are endless. We do give some ideas and some inspiration at the bottom just so that you can get started. But to be honest, you can ask anything. You can attach any type of context that you have, editorial briefs, notes, PDFs, anything that you have already, and then obviously have some other settings in there. But I've already done my homework. And so in this history, there are 3 examples that I want to quickly go through. So the first one is to create a campaign, right? So in this case, I'm going to show you the prompt that I actually asked William. So let's see. So here at the top left, this is my prompt, something short: create a content campaign for this client or for my business for the topic drain cleaning tips before summer usage. That's what I gave William, and he came up with a full content campaign, which includes some images that I can easily use across all my assets. I also have a full content campaign overview where I can find the goal, positioning, messaging, and also what can I create around this, all the SEO related keywords and the relevant aspects for it. What type of content can I create to support this content campaign, a 4-week content calendar. So I have a full overview in here that I can easily save as an editorial brief, or I can share it with my colleagues or with my clients even. But next to that, I also have William, who has actually created the assets for me. So he has created a full landing page that I can directly export in HTML and put it in my website. So this is an on-brand landing page that I can just use right away and add to my website. Next to that, I also have a couple of articles, which include, a full blog article with the images. I also have the expert, the SEO keyword, everything that is needed to be published. And then I can save it as an article, which will go into my draft list of articles in my StoryShift account. So everything I do in this canvas, it will actually be translated, or it will be redirected to my own account where I can actually keep working and just publish it, right? And next to that, I also have a few social posts where I also have some visuals, and I can also just save as a social media. So that's one of the 1,000 ideas that we can use William for. Of course, I can share this full view with anyone, whether colleagues, clients, stakeholders, even if they don't have a StoryShift login. So they will have access to see the whole output. And I will share it with you tomorrow as well when I send the recording. So you can actually take a look and zoom in. So they actually have a really good idea, and they are fully aligned on the messaging, the core goal, and everything that is going to happen around it. So again, we are keeping the consistency, we are keeping the brand voice, the messaging, and everything aligned. So that's one of the ideas. What else do I want to share with you? I also did a keyword research, right? So this is also something crucial, I would say. So I asked William to conduct a keyword research around flooded basement cleanup for SEO, but also for geo. So not only to be found on Google, but also to be found on AI search tools. Here again, William came up with a few visuals, a full overview on my keyword research. So it's giving me keywords to target SEO, but also geo. It's given me quite some good ideas in there. And again, I have a full outline that I can also save to keep working on that or share it with everyone. And then I also have some articles, and I could also ask him to create some social. So you can also keep asking him any questions or any additional assets on the conversation on the left. So that's another example, another scenario where I see William giving me a lot of value. And then the last example that I wanted to show is that I asked William to help me launch a new service. So let's say my client or my business is launching a new service and I really want to promote it. So I want William to help me out by creating a newsletter. So again, he gave me a few visuals, but he actually gave me a newsletter plan. So I also see all the assets, my audience, when to send it, what to include in the newsletter. And again, he gave me a full newsletter already on brand, fully ready to be sent out with my mailing tool, right? So I can, again, export it as HTML. I can just add it into my mailing tool and it's ready to be sent. So these are 3 different scenarios. They are all linked to the same brand voice, the same strategy, the same brand, the same goals that we have as a company. And yeah, they are all centralized in the same place. So I don't need to go to 1,000 tools just to do each of them. To give you even a better idea on what else can you do, what happens, this is just a starting point, right? Then you actually go into the creation of the assets and then collaboration and finally the publication. But let me show you the calendar where I've already previously, before the webinar, saved all those assets, so all the articles and all the socials and the newsletter into my account, right? So I have this beautiful calendar where I have everything that William has proposed. So it's ready. I already have the dates. I already have the copies. I could publish this or schedule it anytime. But what I can also do is even share the full calendar with everyone. Again, it's not only sharing the canvas, it's also sharing the full calendar where a full strategy has been set up for me. So this enables teams, whether small or big, to really stay aligned, to really make things happen, let's say. And even if you have to wear 1,000 hats, and we know what it is to be to having to jump from one thing to another, this makes it as easy as it can get. So yeah, I think this brings already a lot of value. I would say, take a look, activate William, see what it can mean for your business, and try a couple of scenarios, a couple of prompts, and share the results with us. We would love to hear how you are able to embed William into your daily operations, learn from you as well. So you can reach out anytime, and we can engage in a nice use case. Any questions, any suggestions, or even if you want to share your own thoughts or experiences around William, we are really
Eager.
Yeah, we are really ready to listen. So just contact us and we will help you out.
And stay tuned, right? Because there's
there is a lot coming
up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.